Welcome, Visionary Woman. This week, I'm going to be chatting to you about my free book club, which is the personal business owner curriculum that you didn't know you needed. I've been seeing a lot about personal curriculums on the internet, on Substack, and on YouTube. This idea of giving yourself something to study, because when you're just running a business or working at a job, it can be really hard to find that kind of brain expanding space. And as someone who has a postgraduate diploma in education, I can tell you that those muscles do atrophy. I know I went and studied Japanese language at RMIT a few years ago, and woof, it was hard for me to get back into that learning headspace. So one of the ways that we can keep those muscles tuned is to be reading books and learning new strategies and new ways of approaching things and seeing the world and trying to understand new ideas. And our free business book club is one of the ways that you can do that. It's completely free. It's all run by email and it's totally low touch. So essentially, you sign up for the mailing list, and every 2 months, I will send you a book recommendation. You'll have 2 months to read it, and you can send me an email or a DM, or you can share and tag me on how you're feeling about the books. When I choose these books, I like them to be not too long and not too hard, and things that are interesting but relatively easy to ingest, and also things that I can actually see people implementing in their business or their life. Most of the time, these books are business related, but every now and then we'll have a personal development book or we'll have a fiction book. And actually, when you sign up to the book club, you get access to this kind of homepage that has every single book we've ever read linked, and also every single 5-star read I've read over the last few years. So every couple of months I go in and I update every 5-star book that I've read, and I read at least 10 books a month. So I've got quite a few 5 stars there. So they're vetted. So if you're interested in fiction as well, I read a lot of thrillers. I read a lot of literary LGBT books. I read a little bit of speculative fiction and sci-fi and strange weird girl lit is a lot of the stuff that I read. So if any of that's interesting to you, or you just like to have a sticky beak and see what other people are reading, or you like weird books, or you like uplifting fiction, which is uplifting literature, which is something that I read a lot as well, you will probably enjoy all of those recommendations. And having this kind of vetted pool of books that you can dip into. I know something that I do is I trawl readings and different book websites and different bookstores probably every couple of weeks. And this is a way where you don't have to do that. You can just go onto this page and you'll see all these great books that have come out and that have been vetted for you. So I want to go through the books that we've read so far this year, and then I want to chat a little bit more about it. And just so you know, there is over 200 other women business owners in the book club. So it's a really beautiful gang of women who are wanting to move themselves forward, not accept the status quo, not accept mediocrity, and keep growing and expanding, even though they are busy. And I know you are busy, and I know that it can feel hard to read books. And I would definitely stress, if the concept of reading these books freaks you out, read them as audiobooks. People have such weird stuff going with audiobooks. I'm always reading at least one print, digital, and audiobook at the same time. So I will often read audiobooks on my evening walks and when I'm at the gym, and also if I'm doing any cleaning, and it helps things move a bit quicker. And it's a great way to ingest books without needing to sit there and not be doing anything else. So if you feel too busy to read, that would be the hack that I would give you. So let's go through the books that we have read this year. So the first one that we have read, and if you would like the links or you want to go and just click on a link and grab these books, jump in the book club, jump in the link in bio and sign up, and you'll get them sent to your inbox. The first book is called Say What They Can't Unhear, and it's talking about communication, branding, copywriting, and also speaking in a way that helps your audience be open to change. The book also explains a lot about why people have a psychological resistance to change. even if maybe they want it, or they can logically and rationally see why it would be a good thing. And this book is really important for anyone who sells a product or a service that is hoping to change or transform something for someone. That could be simply like, I don't know, like a pair of running shoes is a product that people want to change through that product. They want to run more, they want to run better, they want to feel lighter when they're running. And you might not look at that product and think that it's about change, but essentially that is what you're selling. You're selling change, you're selling identity, and you're selling status. And this book will explain to you why people can be a bit resistant to it and give you some ways of positioning it that makes it more likely to be well received. And I think always when you ask someone to change, there's going to be a part of their ego that says, she's telling me I'm wrong, because it's like, if I have to do things differently, that means I've been doing them incorrectly. That means I'm wrong. That means she thinks I'm stupid, etc., etc. And the ego gets really pissed off. And anyone who has, especially service providers who've been trying to get people to change. So that's things like fitness teachers, PTs, naturopaths, dietitians, medical practitioners or Chinese medicine, business coaches, consultants, like anything like that, where you're asking people to do things differently. This book genuinely, I think, is non negotiable. I think if you have a profession where you are trying to help someone change, you have to read this book. I think it's 100 pages. It's a little pocket book. So it would only take you a couple of hours to get through it, but I really suggest it. Now, the next book that we read this year, which we read March to April, was a book called The 80-20 Principle. And it's a pretty popular book, and it's also just a pretty popular idea, I think. And it's this concept that 80% of your results comes from 20% of your effort. And again, I think that could relate a lot to naturopathy, to dietitians, to fitness instructors and things like that, because a lot of the time it is like there's certain things that we do that change a lot. And then there's a lot of things that we do that don't really move the needle very much. And that is definitely what's happening in business. And it's what's happening a lot of the time with my clients. I had a conversation with a client this morning, and he was telling me that he did this certain thing. And he spent, multiple hours, like at least 5 hours a month on it. And I was like, how many clients have you got from doing that? And he was like, none. It's been 8 months of doing it, no clients. And it's like, well, we're not doing that anymore. Like, we don't do things just for the sake of doing them. We do them to get an outcome. And this book is about that. It's like making you go through your life and your business and assess every single thing that you do and reducing things that aren't working, which I know is so basic, but so many of my clients are incessantly spending a ton of energy on things that they have a lot of evidence to prove to them don't work. I feel like I run a pretty tight ship in regards to this, but reading this book made it even more so for me, like really looking at all of my different offers. I wiped my website of many offers, really reduced it down to a core signature little product suite rather than having little bits and pieces that have just naturally popped up and grown over the many years that I've been doing this business. And I reduced how much I was posting on social media, and I've grown more since posting less. I'm not recommending that for people just getting started. If you already have an engaged clientele, that's an opportunity as well. And thinking about what kind of content I'm creating and which pieces of content are actually providing a return on investment. Before I read this book, I was doing a weekly Substack and it wasn't really working. And I started doing fortnightly, and now it started working. So, because I was like, well, I'm not going to do it every single week if it's just not getting me a result. So, as soon as I started doing it fortnightly and changing a couple of things, I did start seeing a little bit of growth. And this principle, he applies it, if memory serves me correctly, to life and business and work as well. So it's not just something that you can do for your business, it might also help you with your personal life. So, if you're someone who has the same kind of motto as me, you want to do less better and you want to get more done while spending less time online and having less touch, I would say the 80-20 principle is probably a go to curriculum for that. Now, the last book that we finished was called Negotiate, Influence, and Persuade. And this is a really interesting little book. If I hadn't intentionally gone to the bookshop and picked 4 books, 5 books for the year for us, or 6 books, however many it was, I probably would have never picked this up and I probably would have never read it. It's a lovely older white man on the front cover and it just looks very corporate. But if you can get past that, get past the branding and still get into the information in it, I think it's really valuable. It has made me think about negotiation a lot more. I negotiate with clients who are buying from me, but I am pretty averse to negotiating when I'm the client. And it's opened me up to a couple of negotiations that I've had with people, like things like I was getting some mentoring from someone and they wanted me to do it weekly. And I was like, nah, I can't do it weekly. That's too much. I don't have enough time. Let's do it fortnightly. And he was like so open to it, open to having that conversation. And that's the difference between a yes or a no. And so that was really great. And this book also explains a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming and how to use that in conversations that you're having for sales. And it's something, again, like a lot of the time, these books, I love reading them because they clarify and give me the science behind things that I was intuitively doing anyway. And it just makes me feel more confident in the strategies that I'm already using in my business. But using particular words and how you say things and how your body language is will have an impact on your sales. And that's something that I've definitely taken up. And I've also noticed that something about me is that I like to be like quite authentic and quite myself. But often when you're negotiating with someone or you're trying to persuade them, it can be better to make them feel safer by mirroring back to them a little bit more rather than just being your total self accepting self. It can be a little bit softer and gentler to reflect where they're at. And that's something that I've really taken on board in my business and I'm trying to do more. And it has benefited my sales greatly to do that, which I got from this book. Now, the last book that we're currently reading is called Success Curious. To be totally honest, I've only read about 2 chapters of this, but it has landed at a really perfect time for me. I don't know, it's Chiron in Taurus or something's going on, but I'm definitely in a period of really deeply negotiating with myself where I want to be putting my energy and where I'm pushing through and where I'm getting return on investment and all that kind of stuff. And so far, this book has helped with that process of working out what success means to me. What does it actually look like? And starting to define that because a lot of people want to make a ton of money. The way I run my business and my viewpoint is I want to make enough money, like a good amount of money to get by, but my health and well-being and feeling good in my body and not burning out and taking care of myself and having the time to work out and walk my dogs and read lots of books is more important to me than having an extra 100K in the bank. Now, I know that's not the same for everyone, but that's why books like this are so important because we're allowed to define what we think of as success, and what we define success as will affect the actions that we decide to take. If you want to be part of a really epic community of over 200 women business owners who are growing and expanding and are dedicated to forward momentum, committed to learning and expanding their knowledge, you can join now. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's totally free. I'm never going to ask you for any money. I think I send you one email about my book because I genuinely think the kind of women who are in the book club would benefit from my book, but that's it. And you can chat to me about the books, you can share them online, and I hope that you join us. If you liked this episode, if you like reading and you got some good references and some good options to add to your TBR, please review, share, and rate the podcast. And I'll be back in your ears next week.